you will have about $1.3 million. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lauren and this channel is all about growing to the highest version of ourselves. So let's get into today's episode. Today's episode is all about where our paycheck goes post-grad. So where every single dollar goes, we need to know exactly where we are putting it to set ourselves up for the best possible financial life we can. So today I am breaking down the exact system I use to split up every single dollar I earn so that it works for me and not against me. So this is what you are going to do this month with your next dollar. First things first, we need to actually know what we are working with. Look at your paycheck after taxes, after insurance, and any other pre-tax deductions. That is your real number. That's the number we are looking at. This is the number that is actually hitting our bank account on a bi-weekly or monthly basis, however you're paid. So for today's video, we are going to use $4,000 as the basis of when we're doing all of our math equations. So this theoretical, hypothetical person is making $4,000 a month, and that's take home. So I just wanted a nice round number that makes sense. So pull up your last pay stub right now. What hits your bank account? When are you paid? So if it's bi-weekly, multiply that by 2, and that is what you're making on a monthly basis, and that's the amount of money that we are going to put into all of our next math equations. First, we need to break down our non-negotiables. These are things that you have to pay for or your life falls apart or you die. So rent and mortgage. This should be ideally around 25 to 30% of your take-home max. So if you can decrease this, that's great. And I understand there are cities. If you're living in New York City, this is probably not possible unless you're making a boatload of money. So I understand that, but then we have to keep in mind for later parts where we need to take down so that we can actually live. Utilities, this is your water bill, your electric bill, your Wi-Fi, all of that. Next is groceries. This is actual food. This is not DoorDash, eating out, going out for drinks. This is just your produce and your meat, whatever you're buying for yourself to cook on a weekly basis. Transportation, this is kind of where we can claim some money back if we're living in a city, so using public transport or even walking, that kind of takes it down and makes your mortgage not look so bad. But if you're not living in a city, a car, insurance, gas, transit passes, all that. And then lastly, minimum debt payment. It's what you're legally obligated to pay. This is your student loan payment minimum, your credit card minimum, all of that. So for our $4,000 a month example, we are going to take 60%, which is $2,100, and that's going aside just for your have-tos and your needs. If this is eating more than 65% of your take-home income, you need to fix something. This is lifestyle creep. You cannot afford this to take up 65% because then you don't have any room for anything fun, anything going into your savings or anything like that. Now that your non-negotiables are done, we need to talk about bucket number 2, and this is protecting yourself. So before you invest a single dollar, well, we're going to talk about investments, don't worry, you need a safety net. So now we have 2 goals within this bucket. Your first goal is to have enough money to cover your largest deductible. What is the most you'd have to pay out of pocket before insurance kicks in? So if you are paying for health insurance, I know a lot of people are under their parents until they're 26, so you might not have to worry about this, and your highest deductible might be your dental, which is like $200 possibly, but we're going to use $2,000 just for anyone above the age of 26 or anyone who's not covered under their parents' insurance. And then your goal B from this second bucket is to have enough saved up to cover 3 to 6 months of these non-negotiables in case something happens to your health or you lose your job or there's a family emergency. This is going to be a big chunk of money. For this person right here, it's about $7,000. So start with bucket A, the $2,000, save that up or whatever your highest deductible is, and then move on to try to save a separate bucket, this is not included with the $2,000, of $7,200. Now, I would put this into a high yield savings account so that it's earning money, but it's still technically liquid because you can take it out right away and you're earning a little bit of money. Last year, I think I made almost $500 just in my high yield, and that's covering a big chunk of my deductible in case something happens and I need money before insurance kicks in. Now, this emergency fund of $7,200 or whatever the math is for you, you're putting that away and you're not looking at it unless there's an actual emergency. An emergency is not a family vacation, a honeymoon, whatever it is. This is like crisis. You have nothing else to do. Your only other option is taking out a massive loan with massive interest. So this is emergency only, and you're putting it into your high yield savings account, watching it grow a little bit and adding to it every month. So for this person, I would save around 10% to start building these 2 chunks of money. So this is about $400 a month for this person, and after 18 months, you would have hit both the highest deductible of $2,000 and 3 months of expenses. If you're looking for a good high yield, I am currently using Marcus by Goldman Sachs. I like the platform. It's easy and it's reliable, and I like that. So if you're looking for an option, that's a good one. Bucket 3, we are grabbing the free money. If you are working and you have an employer, you most likely have a 401k match of some sort. Now, on the good end, you might have dollar for dollar for 6%. On the lower end, you might have 50 cents on the dollar up to 3%. So whatever it is, you want to match. So if your employer is up to 6%, you want to be putting at least 6% into your 401k because it's free money. If it's dollar for dollar, that means for every dollar that you put in to your 401k, up to 6% of your income, your company is matching that. So they're basically funding your 401k for you and doubling what's inside. So let's stick with the $4,000 a month. Your yearly salary is $60,000. 6% contribution is $3,600 a year or $300 a month. But your employer adds 50%, let's say, on the lower end. My employer matches 75%, so let's use 50 just to be on the safe side. Your employer is going to give you $150 a month or $1,800 a year to put towards this. This is just free money, so you need to use it. If you're not hitting that match though, you're not going to get this money. Quick note, there are 2 different types of 401ks. You can go the traditional route, or a lot of employers now offer a Roth. So with a traditional, you're taking money out pre-tax. So you're putting money into your 401k pre-tax, so you're saving a lot that way. But when you go to take it out, you're going to be taxed at whatever bracket you're in. Tax bracket you're in. Where the Roth 401k comes in handy is especially for people in their 20s when they're young and they're in a lower tax bracket and possibly the lowest tax bracket we'll ever be in. So what happens with a Roth is you put money in post-tax. So you pay taxes on the amount of money that you're putting into your 401k, but when you go to retire and you go to take it out, it doesn't get taxed. And this is huge because most likely when we retire, our tax bracket should be a lot higher than what it is right now. So we're saving a huge chunk of money by not having to pay taxes when we retire. So log into your benefits portal through your employer, find out what the match percentage is, and at least put that much in. Bucket 4, now we are killing the debt. Now that we feel like we're safe in case something happens, we have that covered. Once you have finally hit your 401k match, now we can move on to the next step, which is killing the expensive debt. So we're getting rid of debt that is actively robbing you. So this is anything over 6 or 7%. So this is credit cards, personal loans, even sometimes student debt, anything that's above like that 7%, 8% threshold, you need to start attacking that right now. If you're paying 18% on a credit card, that's costing you more than you'd earn if you invested that money. All things equal, 8% increase in the market, whatever, that's crazy. First, list all of your high interest debt, anything above 7, 8%. Pay the minimum on everything. This is non-negotiable. You have to do this, and this was already in bucket 1, so we're already doing this, but I just want to reiterate it. And then take 10 to 15% of your income and put it all into the highest rate debt. So if you have a debt that's 18% like a credit card, that's going first. When that's gone, roll it in, that 10 to 15% every month, into a new debt. That is the next highest interest rate. So using our example, it's going to be about $600 a month that is going to go toward a credit card debt. So a $5,000 credit card at 18% will be gone in about 7 months. And student loans, I know a lot of you guys will have student loans at this point in your life. If it's below 5 or 6%, it's not urgent. We will get to that, but you're going to miss out on the opportunity to have your money make money if you're trying to pay off your loans. And I know it seems enticing to try to just get it all over with, but if you throw $30,000 at your student loan interest, you could have put that into the market and made 10%. And now you have even more money to put towards those loans eventually. So I promise we will get there, but this is not the step for this yet. Bucket 5, when we have all of those buckets figured out, now we move on to the next, which is building our wealth. Your 20s are a wealth superpower because the biggest thing on our side is time. Even though we might not be making the most money, we have the most time right now. So when it comes to compound growth, compound interest, this is where we win even if someone else is making triple what we're making. So now we were talking about 10 to 15% of our take-home income, and this is exactly where you're going to put it. 1, into a Roth IRA. You pay taxes now, and it grows tax-free forever. If you're in a low tax bracket right now, which you probably are, this is gold. So right now the max is $7,000 a year. So this is about $580 a month. So this is the first thing once you have completed all those other buckets. And don't get me wrong, this is a hard thing to do. Getting up to this bucket number, if you're still on bucket number 1, that's fine, but keep this list ready for when you do eventually have enough money and the means to complete all these buckets. 2, then we are going to go beyond our match for a 401k. We are going to try to save as much as we can and even possibly max it out. Now the max is about $23,000, so this is really not realistic for a lot of people, but it is there and it's a great thing if we can try to max. Now 3rd, after we've contributed even more to our 401k than just the match, we are going to open up an HSA, which is a health savings account, which has a triple tax advantage, which is crazy because you don't have to pay the taxes on your income, you don't have to pay the taxes when this money grows, and you don't have to pay the taxes when you take your money out. So this is basically a debit card that you put money into pre-tax, and you get to use it for any qualifying health expenses. So using our $4,000 a month example, 15% will be $600 into investments. So first it's going into our IRA, which is $580. So that's basically all we're able to do with this $4,000 a month income, but that's still great. The extra $17 a month can go towards your additional 401k contributions or your health savings account. Just so you know, if you invest $600 a month, like we're talking about, from the age of 25 to 35, you will invest $72,000. At 35, this will be worth $115,000. And at retirement, 65, if you never even add another dollar, if you just invest from the age of 25 to 35 for those 10 years, $600, you will have about $1.3 million by the time you retire. Also, always use the auto tools, so auto transfer for your Roth IRA, your 401k, invest in like a target date fund or a total market index fund, investing in the S&P 500. It takes the top 500 companies and it tracks those, and you have a little chunk of each of those, and they usually outperform investments, like single investments where you're like day trading, because it gets a good 8 to 10%. Right now it's crazy, I'm making like 23% just because the market's kind of crazy right now. Now we're talking about bucket number 6. Now this is how you're going to live your life, actual life, and actually enjoy your life. This will be about 10 to 20% of your take home. So this is for restaurants, coffee, bars, shopping, clothes, entertainment, hobbies, trips, travel, concerts, all of that fun stuff. So this is your spending money. Once it's gone, no dipping into other buckets. But this should be guilt-free spending. If you're budgeting for $500 a month of this, it's guilt-free. You have that money to spend and you should spend it, because we don't need to be crazy people that penny pinch, because we have ourselves covered in the other buckets. Personally, I like to stick more to 10% of my income for this. So for this example, we're using $4,000 a month. This is $400 a month of guilt-free spending. This is for anything. You can save that money up and use it for a trip at the end of the year, or maybe use half of it and the rest goes for a trip at the end of the year. So use it guilt-free, but when it hits zero, you're done until the next month. So now let's look at the full picture. I'm using a $4,000 paycheck. So if you're making $8,000 a month, just double this. If you're making $2,000, just cut it in half. So just figure out the math that way, or do all these percentages yourself, or throw it into an AI tool or whatever. It makes it so easy. So your monthly take home is $4,000. Your non-negotiables take up 60%, which is really high just because we're starting out and our income isn't that high yet. So this is rent, utilities, car, minimum debt payments. Next, our emergency fund. We are going to start putting 10% into this, which is $400 a month, and building towards that $2,000 deductible, or whatever your highest deductible is. And then eventually this safety net of about 3 to 6 months of expenses. So for this person, it was about $7,200. Next, we are getting our employer match, because this is free money. We don't want to give up on this. So for this scenario, it was about $300 a month to get the $150 a month match. And fourth, this is where we are killing our debt and attacking only the high interest debt though. So anything above that 7-8%. And we are throwing 15% at this. So this is about $600 a month for this person. Then investing, we are going to save 15% and we are going to put it towards investments. So this is maxing out the Roth IRA if you can, increasing your 401k, and then putting money towards a health savings account. And then number 6, this is where our life is, our fun is, our joys are, and why we work in the first place. So this is guilt-free spending. So this 15%, which for this person is about $600, that's for you. That is guilt-free. Use it up. use it wisely. You don't have to buy stupid stuff that you're not going to use again, but this is your money and you can do what you want with it. Now, in reality, you might not be able to do all of these percentages perfectly. So let's look at something that you might experience when just starting out, first job. Maybe you do 5% to your emergency fund, so about $200 a month. Maybe about 10% to your debt, so $400. 10% of investing instead of 15% of your income is about $400 a month. And then give yourself still 15% for those like expenses. The money will add up and you will eventually hit all of these buckets, but the sooner the better. So if you can increase those percentages, great. If you can't yet, don't sweat it. You have a lot of time. You're still in your 20s, or whenever you're watching this video, you have time. So really focus on the order more than the actual percentages. It's really not good to go out of order. The order is there for a reason. I've done a lot of research. I've listened to a lot of finance people, podcasts, and books and everything. So trust me, this will work for you. And as you earn more, as the debt starts to disappear, you shift your percentages up and you have more money for you and more money for future you. So I have so much more information on this. I want to talk about money traps to avoid falling into. I already have a few videos that I'll link up here and at the end. But start now, don't wait, don't open up another video until you go look at your employer match and set up a high yield savings account and all of this and figure out how much money you're actually taking home. Do that first, do that today. I promise tomorrow you and retirement you will really, really thank you. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and for more like this, make sure you subscribe and like this video if you thought it was useful. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.